This week on Inside Drag Racing, we're in St. Louis following Don Walsh, driver of Harry Haruska's NHRA turbocharged beast.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Inside Drag Racing. And for a change, I'm not the drag strip, but it's all about drag racing. This is the NHRA Fan Fest. We're down here in St. Louis next to the legendary Busch Stadium, which is the home of the St. Louis Cardinals. This place is called Ballpark Village. We have a display out there of many different kinds of race cars, especially Pro Mod cars. But on this edition of Inside Drag Racing, we're going to be following Don Walsh and Harry Haruska's incredible turbocharged beast. And something special is going to happen here today. Harry, what do we got going on here?
Oh, we got bobbleheads. This is Donny Jr.
Yeah.
And this is the first time I've seen this.
Now, this is the new car, right?
Yep.
This is our new Pro Mod.
Yeah, that's a new 2013 Pro Mod in bobblehead form. It's the first of the first.
Yeah, something really different for the Pro Mod guys. So you're going to be giving these away? What's going to happen here?
Yep, this weekend we're giving away 4,000 of these, starting at the Fan Fest tonight.
Wow, so starting at the Fan Fest and then at the track, after qualifying?
After qualifying on Friday night, after eliminations of Pro Mod on Saturday night, that'll be the end of it.
Yeah, and folks, let me tell you something. They're going to get a double bonus. If you've been following the series at all, you know that it rained out at Charlotte, North Carolina, so you got 2 races this weekend. You're still in the Charlotte race.
That's it, and we're ready. We're ready to finish the Charlotte race and get on to the St. Louis race.
Right, so we'll be following through and letting you know exactly what goes on. Now, how did you get the idea for a bobblehead?
My fiance gave me the idea. It says we're looking for something cool to do, something that no one's done before, and here it is.
Yeah, I'd say it is cool. What do you think of it, Donny?
Oh, it's awesome, and I think it's a great thing that Harry and his fiance came up with to do for all the fans. Without the fans, we wouldn't all be here. So it's really cool to be able to give back and see all the excitement that it's garnered. And so we're excited. We're excited for the weekend. We're excited for the racing. We're excited for the fans, and excited for the bobblehead.
All right, folks, I'll tell you what. When we come back, we'll take a short break right now. We'll be out at the track, and we'll let the racing begin.
This edition of Inside Drag Racing is being brought to you by ARP, the world leader in fastener technology. Precision Turbo, a leader in turbocharger technology for street and race applications. Borla, the world's most winning exhaust. And by Aeromotive. We know it, we race it, we live it.
Back on Inside Drag Racing, we're ready to go with the first round of the St. Louis race now. Harry, what have you changed from the last time the car went down the track?
Well, we're having problems with wheel speed in the first half second of the car right now, and what we've done is added some ignition timing to shore that up a little bit. We need more wheel speed, and ignition timing is our easiest way for a power adder right now.
How do you do that physically? What do you do to change the timing?
Well, to change the timing, we go into our onboard computer system and just make some subtle adjustments, at a quarter second, at 3/10 of a second, and so on. We can do it actually by every 10 milliseconds.
Wow, and so you do that with a laptop?
Yes, we do. And the other thing we did to the car is we made a 4-link change to the car. We're freeing the car up a little bit. This Larry Jeffers race car bites so hard right out of the box that it's just sticking the tire. Even on a slippery track, we still don't have enough wheel speed. So we actually loosen the car up a little bit, and believe it or not, it'll help it get down the track down.
Now, you qualified with a 590. You got Mike Janis, who also qualified with a 590.
Well, and that's true, but you know, the reason we have a 590 is that Donny was in eliminations earlier on this weekend, and you know, he was in a race. The other driver was ahead of him, so the natural thing to do is when you're beat is you just lift. So Donny actually lifted on an 86 pass and went 90. He lifted at 5.2 into the run and ran a 90 at 225 miles an hour, not our normal 250.
And you can compute that probably would have been an 86.
Oh, absolutely. The time slip shows that we were exactly where we should have been. We're going to get 5 more numbers in the back half, and we lost him because he got out of the throttle.
See, isn't this amazing? You know what? We're going to find out right now. So in the first round of qualifying, the competitor to run against Donny Walsh would be this man, Mike Knowles, that beautiful 1968 Camaro, powered by a Brad Anderson 426 cubic inch Hemi engine. You can see Don Walsh burns out right there with his 2013 Camaro, the new creation right there that they started running this year, turbocharged with a 426 cubic inch hemispherical head engine. They'll back him up right now after he makes the burnout. He'll attempt to sort out the car. Not only are they qualifying for the race and trying to get into the top 16, only the 16 fastest qualifiers will get to participate in final eliminations tomorrow. The crew chief checking with his foot right there to see that he has hot, sticky tracks of rubber that those racing slicks have laid down. Now he's going to motion him up just before the pre-stage light, shut the door, lock it, and he looks over to see if Donny Walsh is ready. Harry Ruska behind the car indicates that Donny is ready to stage. They've turned on the computer that will be recording everything as it goes down the track. More on that later in the show. So both cars are staged up right now, ready to go. You see the blue bulbs on top pre-stage. The brighter blue bulb is staged, which means they're on the starting line. And it'll be Don Walsh getting there first. Good run, 5.90 with a 225 miles per hour on the top end speed. Mike Knowles, meanwhile, went to a 598, 240. Now that qualifying run will place Donny Walsh in the number 8 qualifying position. Another turbocharged car, Troy Coughlin, is in the number 1 position. A lot of the cars struggled going down a quarter mile here at St. Louis, but you guys did pretty well. Now, what do you do now? How do you know how to change the car?
Well, we look at a number of things, Ted. We're using the race pack data. We have several items here we can look at. This line here is drive shaft RPM. This line here is the engine RPM. And this is a very important measurement right here, which is in G meters. Now, there's actually 2 runs on the screen right now. We have the elimination run in Charlotte, which is our last competition run on the screen, and I'm going to zoom into that real quick. Those are the red dots. All the red lines are from that elimination run in Charlotte. Our qualifying line here are these colors. So we can see there's actually some pretty big disparity right here in the G meter. And if you look out here, this is a real problem area today. We ran a 91. And the way we put this run together for today on this racetrack, which was our first hit, is we took our best front half track, which was Indy, our first elimination run in Indy, and we took our best back half, which was from our first elimination in Charlotte, and we put those together, and this is what we came up with. The problem that started here was actually because the car made a violent move to the left when it left the starting line, and we really weren't even on the racing surface at that point. We were very, very close to the wall, and the tires were really upset and actually almost went into tire shape.
You're out of the groove.
We were definitely out of the groove on that one. But the interesting thing in here is that the actual engine RPM was the same, but the drive shaft was up. Now that would indicate that the track probably isn't quite as good as it was at Charlotte, at least for this qualifier right here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a little bit of power out in this area here. We're going to take a little bit of power out here because this was a little bit too fast. And the G meter represents that, and then this should take care of itself because hopefully we'll be down the middle of the track on the next run.
How do you take that power out? What do you do to the car to do that?
Well, and that's what these guys down here I'm trying to show you. This is actually the ignition timing that we run in the car, and we can control this by 0.3 of 1 degree. And if you look right here, you're going to see that from Charlotte to here, The difference was 1.5 degrees. We actually had a little bit more timing in it, and look what the drive shaft did. It went higher, but the G meter is actually lower. So we have too much power in the car. We're going to take that back out.
Is any of that caused by tire spin?
It's all tire spin. That's why it's actually spinning the tire here. Even though the tire is moving faster, the G meter says that we're not accelerating the car. And the goal here is to accelerate the car.
So you can go quicker than a 91.
We can definitely go quicker, especially if you're going a straight line rather than towards the wall. So we're going to slow this down, slow this down. Actually, that's what we're doing, is we're slowing the tire down to speed the car up.
That doesn't make a lot of sense, but you know what, folks? It's very scientific now. These things aren't as simple as you think, like they used to be years ago. And meanwhile, you had a problem with the intake, too. Do we have that in?
Well, it's not really an intake problem. We had basically a loss of crankcase pressure that was getting out of the intake with an oil leak, and we're fixing that right now.
So that'll help, too.
Oh, definitely. It all helps. And the guys are just tearing it up right now.
All right, run number 2 coming up. This one counts because this is part of the Charlotte Rainout run.
And in that run, he would have to face Troy Coughlin, the Jegs.com car out of Delaware, Ohio. There you see Donny. Now, the reason they wave the door, by the way, is after that burnout and all that smoke gets in the cockpit of the car, actually in the driver's compartment. They wave the door trying to get that smoke out of there. They don't want it to block his vision or cause him any respiratory problems at all. The Jegs car will stage up next, and we'll look at Donny Walsh again being guided to just before that pre-stage beam. Pre-stage means you're not quite on the starting line yet. You're a few inches away, about 7 inches away from the stage beam, which is on the starting line. Those beams are going just above the asphalt. The front tire, it's what's breaking the beam. They're practically right dead down on the asphalt. So both cars staged up now. Coughlin goes in pretty quick to the stage beam. Remember, they need to spool up those turbochargers. Both cars are turbocharged. Look at Coughlin. Boy, what a run. He lays down a 584 with a 5,250 to take out Donny Walsh, who ran a respectable 590, 225 miles per hour. So Troy Coughlin will move on. Look at it one more time. Look at Walsh carry the front wheels off the starting line. Great job setting up that chassis by crew chief Harry Ruska. But now here comes the Jegs car. Puts on a big top-end charge to run 250 mile an hour and eliminate Donny Walsh from competition.
All right, and right now I'm with Donny Walsh, and the obvious question, what happened?
You know, we just had a tough day yesterday. We've been working with this car. It's got 10 runs on it now, and every run we get to work with it a little bit better. The guys did a great job yesterday. The driver didn't do everything he could do. So we were late on the starting line. We're working on some staging things with the car, and we'll get it. We'll get it, and I'll get it, and we'll be able to, we'll be in contention once we get it all figured out.
That was not a normal light for you, so the viewers are wondering out there, what distracted you?
Nothing distracted me. Troy, he double bulbed us, and in a turbo car that's unheard of, because in a turbo car you need to spool up before you pull in the lights. So it surprised me. I'm sure it was a mistake on his part, because if he had been racing a blower car or nitrous car, he'd have been done. I could have pulled right in, but it would have been a cowboy race at that point, because we would have both left with no boost. And then it would have, you know, when it came on, it would have been a mess for everybody. With already seeing that there had been an accident in the day, there was no reason to do that. We just spooled up and did all that. When someone does that, you've got 7 seconds to make your decision and get the car staged. So, you know, it definitely can throw you for a loop if you're not expecting it, and we definitely weren't.
So we might explain to the viewers, 7 seconds later, after the stage light, the tree's coming on, right?
Yeah, you have, from the time that the car decides goes into the bulbs, you have 7 seconds to get your car staged, otherwise you're red lit.
In staging the cars with the automatics, with the bump boxes and stuff like that, I'm trying to get as far into the first light as I can so that when you hit the button, it doesn't turn the bottom one on, turn it back off. You got to hit it again to get it to go back forward again. So it's kind of a nuisance in an essence. So I think I just screwed up and got in too far. And then thank God I wasn't racing a nitrous car or a blower car, because we'd have been stuck. But you know, Steve and the guys made some good decisions. The thing just made a nice run. I mean, just hooked up. I mean, the 60 foot was a lot better. It was better all the way down the track. So it's pretty awesome.
So the final qualifying station now, you got to look there at Billy Glidden, the Mickey Thompson Tire sponsored entry, who will be Donny Walsh's opponent this time in the Precision Turbo entry. That's Billy's wife, who is pretty well the only crew person that Billy has, really a very small family operation. She's adjusting the wheelie bars after they make the burnout. Now she's talking to him on the radio. These drivers have radios, and Billy is able to communicate with her. Now Donny Walsh ready to go into the beams right there. Billy Glidden, the son of legendary Bob Glidden, the multi-time Pro Stock NHRA and IHRA champion. Round number 3 qualifying. Final staging move by Walsh. Now Billy's into the beams, and away they go. Good start. Oh, Walsh bobbles just a little bit there, and that's all it took to slow him down to a 6:04 at only 228 miles per hour. Glidden, very satisfying 5:98. So both cars, incidentally, qualified in the field.
This edition of Inside Drag Racing is being brought to you by ARP, the world leader in fastener technology. Original Parts Group, the world's largest source for GMA body parts and accessories. B&M Racing and Performance, quality performance products that work. And by Stage 8, the world's best locking fastener.
Don Walsh over in the Laser Energy side of the track. Remember, Don during qualifying had 2 issues where he came out, and as soon as he got about 60 feet off the track, had that backfire. The car shattered, shut off, and that is where he's at, qualified in at number 10. He did get that one good run with a 5.905. Again, a pair of cars matched up. 5.900 was the run for Mike Janis, the differentiating factor being mile per hour. So it's going to be Mike Janis over in the left lane. Hopefully, they figured out what had happened with that car. Looks like they did. They are side by side. Don Walsh trying to hold in there at the stripe. That win light goes to Don Walsh. 5.824, 250 miles an hour, his best run of the weekend. Gets around Mike Janis's 5.86.8, and man, what a run.
Back on Inside Drag Racing. Well, Harry, the tune-up worked. What do you, like an 82?
Yeah, it was great. The track conditions were amazing. The car worked good. Donnie drove good. Everything lined up, even though we did have a lane change at the last moment from Janis.
But it didn't really matter, right?
No, it didn't matter. We were ready for it.
Okay, so today, is there any more in it?
There's always more, you know, and actually, since the weather conditions were so good and we're not going to see that today, and the track was so good, we won't see that today. We're probably not going to make any changes for the first run because it actually turned out a little, it could have been stronger last night, but we didn't take advantage of it because we didn't, of course, have that track earlier. So we're just going to let it ride and see what happens for the first elimination.
Okay, let's see what happens with Donny Walsh. Round number 2 coming at you now.
Harry Hruska staging up with another turbo, a Mustang, and against them we have Todd Tutterow. What a story, Nate. He came to the 15th spot.
Yep, Totoro has worked his way through the field. That tuner and driver out of Yadkinville, North Carolina, the 69 Camaro. He's lining up over in the right lane. Now, Don Walsh, you look at this, that Harry Ruska tuned ride, precision turbo and engine, that car put up the quickest run of the event last night in round number 1. Got down into the 582 range and just blew the rest of the field away. That car can really pick up some big speed down at the top end of the racetrack. So, we're looking at the speeds that he put up. I mean, 225 miles an hour. Or excuse me, 25 when he put that 590 on the board. He was not running on all cylinders last night. That 582 at 250, he was. So, Don Walsh, Todd Tutterow, in, set, and gone. Don Walsh is really moving around the racetrack. Wow. Todd Tutterow takes him out. 595.6 beats a 595.1. 241 miles an hour for Todd Tutterow, 252 miles an hour for Don Walsh, but the margin of victory in that race, 8/10,000ths of a second. That is .0008. That is about an inch. Then that Gallant Motorsports ride was able to hold on over Don Walsh.
Whoa, what a close drag race. 8/10,000ths. The car slowed down almost a tenth. Why?
Oh, he had to pedal it, Ted. I mean, that's just what happened. The car is really aggressive. This is pass number 12 on this race car, so we're still learning the car. It's just picking up too much, getting out in the wheelie bar and getting the tire shake out there. So we'll be ready for the next race. We just got to make some more adjustments to the car and get her down, get her go straight. The driver did her job. The engine did programmed it. The car's getting really close. We'll be ready next time.
Okay, well, not bad at all, indeed. And let me ask you, everybody wants to know, okay, it's over now. You're out of the race. What happens next?
Next, we're going to go out and do some more testing. Like I said, we've only got 12 hits on this car all the way down the racetrack. So it's a brand new car, and we've got to learn the car, and it's telling us what to do. We just can't do it in race trim. We have to do it in a test session.
All right, now, I see over here you've got a fan going with a big hose. What's that about?
Well, that's for the drive, the cooler for the torque converter, and the quick drive that actually transmits the power from the engine directly to the transmission.
So you're cooling it down?
Yeah, we got to cool it down between rounds. It reaches probably around 250 degrees, and you know, every round you got to cool it down.
So you want everything nice and cool. You've got the front end off the car. Will you do anything else to it to load it?
Yeah, well, we'll go ahead and do our normal service. We'll check the rods, we'll check the mains, we'll check the valve lash, we'll check valve springs. We'll go through the whole program so that when it comes back out of the trailer, it'll be ready to race.
So that when you're done racing, you're out of the race, you're not done working.
No, we're never done working. We got to get this car serviced to come out for the next round, whenever that might be.
Well, obviously, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Well, for sure there, but we'll be testing before then.
Okay, folks. Now you got to follow all the way through one of the top performing pro modified cars in the NHRA series. I'm Ted Jones for Harry Ruska and Donny Walsh. Thanks for watching. So long, everyone.